For all things great iron and hard top, it's Kev Lewis since the Sandbox.
Your favorite podcast host is back with another rundown. Before we jump in to our top 10 quarterbacks, there's a lot of recent news, so make sure you guys is getting caught up. We have our Meet the People episode 3 with Steph Lewis. Make sure you guys go and check that out. We also have our Meet the People series with Joe Ruggiero and Juxie, Boston rapper. There's also my top 25 guys, breaking down my top 25 guys in the NFL of the past NFL season. Me and Kev just got done with some free agency predictions, so make sure to check those out, along with my positional rankings that we're about to get into, my quarterback top 10. Guys, make sure you're following on YouTube, wherever your favorite podcast platform is, because we have a lot of good things coming, a lot of big things. Okay, before we jump in with the top 10 quarterbacks, we have to address some recent news. I just had an episode come out with the recent Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Mike Williams news. Yesterday was a big day in the NFL, and we really need to make sure that we're talking about these headlines. So go and check it out. I also went live on Instagram at Since the Sandbox. Go and check it out. Let me know what you think, what's going to happen with the Denver Broncos, the Green Bay Packers, and the Chargers coming up for next year. All right, the top 10 quarterbacks. First, thank you guys for patiently waiting. I know you're dying for me to get into this list, but it was a long time coming to rank my quarterback, so I appreciate you guys for staying patient. Here at 10, I have two guys here. Definitely want to have an honorable mention because it was tough for me to choose. At 10, I do have Kyla Murray, so outside of my top 10, I would like to give an honorable mention to Mac Jones. Now, look, I know things a little early in Mac Jones' development, but he had a really good year, and you're talking about a big difference in the quarterback position in the New England franchise. So I'd just like to give Mac Jones a little bit of credit. But Kyla Murray here at 10 started off the year so hot, was arguably, the best quarterback in the NFL. And now we're hearing a lot of the contract discrepancies going on in Arizona. And, Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim, the general manager, they got all locked up. And that's not the case for Kyla Murray. He really wants to make sure that, he's getting his. And, I don't necessarily blame him, but I don't think, he's really going about it the best way. Kyla Murray here at 10. At 9, I have Derek Carr. Guys, Derek Carr had a fantastic year last year. Absolutely fantastic. And, the Raiders, once they lost John Gruden in week 5, week 6, somewhere around there, I definitely thought that their season was all done. Stick a fork in them. But Derek Carr found a way to make it work, and it wasn't with, Darren Waller, right? He was getting it done with Zay Jones. He was getting it done with a bunch of guys. And, I have to give him a lot of credit because, that was a really big individual effort, and he doesn't get, a lot of credit that he really deserves. And hopefully Derek Carr will be the Raiders QB for years to come. Hopefully he did enough to prove to the front office that he's their guy. At 8, guys, Patrick Mahomes. I have Patrick Mahomes at 8, and I think you really have to consider, the years that he had previously, right? And those are the sample size that you're working with, past experiences. And, Patrick Mahomes has performed at Super Bowl levels. He's performed at elite levels, All-Pro, Pro Bowl, whatever level you want to perform at, Patrick Mahomes has done it. But this past year, he definitely, I would like to say, had a little bit of regression. Wasn't making the best decisions, wasn't, top in the NFL, with passing yards, with touchdowns, with accuracy, completion percentage. So I definitely think, it was a little bit of a struggle for Mahomes. The Kansas City Chiefs were still a couple of games away from the Super Bowl, but, Patrick Mahomes has standards that are really up here, and when he doesn't reach those standards, you're going to have to let him hear it. And that's kind of, the bad thing when you come in as a good rookie in the NFL is that everyone, every single year is going to expect you to play up to those expectations, especially when you're first coming in. You're only supposed to get better as you get older. So those are some things that you definitely have to keep in mind. But Patrick Mahomes here at 8. Guys, at 7, this guy changed franchises, changed teams this past year, and it ended up being extremely wonderful for him. Matthew Stafford ended up winning a Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford here at 7. And look, I know what you're going to say, right? Matthew Stafford, the Super Bowl winning quarterback, is here at 7. Guys, I get it. But I'm just taking the past regular season as the sample size. And, there were some questions throughout the year. Is Matthew Stafford's previous injuries something that's going to bother him the rest of his career? Did the Lions win this trade? Did the Rams win this trade? Is this happening because of Cooper Kupp? Is this happening because of the running game with Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, and Sony Michel? Or the great defense that the Rams have that is very underrated throughout the process? So Matthew Stafford here at 7, I think that this was one of, the more complicated years of his career, right? Because he's being based on a different sample size. And Matthew Stafford does have top 5 talent. And, when it came down to the playoffs, he made all the right throws at the right time, with the exception of in the NFC Championship, that throw over the middle to Jaquiski Tartt. Could have been a game changer and could have been a season changer for the LA Rams. But I do think Matthew Stafford had a great year here at 7. And I'm expecting him to, improve on that and have a better year next year as he gets more familiar with Sean McVay and the offense that he runs. At 6, guys, Justin Herbert. I honestly think the Chargers had a great year. Justin Herbert definitely showed signs of development and growth. And that's what you want to see, from a second-year guy, especially when he was questioned a lot, right? This is the same reason why the Miami Dolphins didn't pick him. They didn't know if he loved football, right? And, he wasn't the most outgoing person. So he was really taking critiques for things that he really shouldn't have. So I have Justin Herbert here at 6. I do think he had a better regular season than all of the guys that I previously named. But clearly, the team's results didn't really measure that. So I do expect, the Chargers to get better as the years go on and take steps in the right direction. I expect Justin Herbert to be a name that we're going to be calling out and respecting for a long time. All right, top 5. At 5, I have Dak. And guys, the Dallas Cowboys, we have to keep in mind, we're probably a top 5 team throughout the entire year. And we're talking about a guy that's coming off of a broken leg, a broken ankle, whatever you want to call it. And that was a really drastic injury. But Dak came in. He has the weapons. He had the defense this year. And we saw what that team did. If you want my honest opinion, I think the Cowboys choke was a little bit more on Mike McCarthy than it was on Dak. And, I think Dak is going to be, a quarterback, like I said, with Justin Herbert, is going to be a guy that we're going to be saying for years to come. And, when he has the weapons that he does and he performs the way that he does, what it's going to come down to really prove his worth is winning big games. And Dak is going to have to continue to prove that, especially being a Dallas Cowboy, Jerry's World. I have Dak here at 5. At 4, Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow, Super Bowl Joe. I know they didn't get the victory, but Joe Burrow in his second year taking his team to the Super Bowl was incredibly impressive. Guys, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, CJ Uzomah, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. I mean, this offense was absolutely phenomenal, and Joe Burrow was in the middle of it all. Have to give him credit, have to give Zach Taylor credit. Joe Burrow is going to be a top 5 QB for years to come. He got that ice in his veins. Extremely important at the quarterback position. At 3, I know it's extremely hard to say that there are 3 quarterbacks better than Joe Burrow at this point in time, but I have to give my co-host, Coach Kev Sinatra, some credit. Guys, Josh Allen here at 3. Josh Allen, you could argue he could be 1. You can argue he could be 2. This is my ranking, my positional top 10. So this is where I have him. But, the Bills were a couple seconds away from, being in the AFC Championship, the Super Bowl, and the whole season could have been rewritten history, and Josh Allen would have changed that Bills franchise forever. That was not the case. Sean McDermott, didn't do the necessary coaching decisions that he needed to at certain times throughout the year, and I think that's more of the reason why the Bills are in this scenario. Josh Allen is one of the game's best, and honestly, I expect Josh Allen to be higher on this list next year. Tom Brady retired, right? So there's going to be room in the top 2. At 2, I have Aaron Rodgers. The reason why I have Aaron Rodgers here, you're going to have to refer back to my top 5, Steve's top 25, my 5-to-1 rankings, and I'm going to go on a little bit more in-depth breakdown on that, but I have Aaron Rodgers at 2 and Tom Brady at 1. Look, Tom Brady's last year of his career threw for 5,300 yards, and that team was a couple injuries, a couple of plays away from being back to the same place that they were last year in the Super Bowl, and Aaron Rodgers being the MVP in back-to-back seasons, I think that's absolutely incredible. But, you could say that Tom Brady had more success in 3 years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than Aaron Rodgers did his entire career with the Packers. And like I said, that's a really debatable statement, and I know it's a very strong statement as well. But Aaron Rodgers, we want to see more success. I mean, if you have the numbers that you do, the MVP performances that you do, we want to see the rings go with it. I think that's extremely important. And I know what you're trying to do is trying to make sure that your pocket's safe. Your pocket's always going to be safe. Your name is Aaron Rodgers. Let's get some wins the last 4 years of your career. We just heard that he signed that extension. And number one, guys, like I said, Tom Brady, the GOAT, washing it up, hanging up the cleats. Tom Brady, it was a pleasure getting to watch you, root against you as a New York Giants fan, watching you in all the Super Bowls. Absolutely appreciate it. The game of football has brought me so much, and I'm so grateful, and that's why I'm here trying to give back to the game of football, talking about it as I am. There's a lot of Since the Sandbox to get caught up on. We have a bunch of YouTube content. Make sure to stay tuned, like, follow, subscribe on the channel, and stay caught up with all the episodes that we're putting out. Guys, we have our positional top 10. We have my top 25. We have our Meet the People series. We have free agency predictions. Guys, what other podcast is bringing you all of this and bringing it to you with 5-star value? I'll see you guys soon. Go to sincethesandbox.net, Apple, Spotify, or YouTube to get all the best. Peace out, guys. Much love from your favorite podcast host, Steve Toro.
For all things great iron and hard top, it's Kevlu and Since the Sandbox.